Good evening, I'm Katerina Georgieva. This is CBC Windsor News. Thanks for joining us. Tonight we'll tell you about a fire on the Ambassador Bridge. Plus, magic mushrooms no more. An illegal Windsor storefront is closing its doors. And bracing for impact, the Port Authority fears more cross-border swimmers are coming after Trump's presidential win. Plus, what will it take to fix one of Windsor's worst roads? That is later tonight. But let's begin with the blaze on the Ambassador Bridge this afternoon, forcing traffic to come to a full stop while emergency crews worked to put it out. For more, we bring in the CBC's Jennifer LaGrassa, who is live at the border now. Jen, what do we know so far?
Yeah, so around 2 this afternoon, Kat, a transport truck that was coming into Canada caught fire. It was the front part of that vehicle that caught fire, went up in flames, and fire officials say that it was actually the engine compartment. Thick black smoke could be seen billowing out of it from here, from Windsor, looking up at the bridge. You could see that, and it happened closer to the Canadian side, kind of where that flag hangs down on the bridge. Windsor Fire did confirm that the driver of the vehicle is okay. Katie Allenson was someone who was driving on the bridge at the time. She drove past that fire. I spoke with her earlier today. Here's what she said it was like.
The traffic started to get a little busy right in the middle of the bridge, which is a little bit odd for this time of the afternoon on a Friday. And when I got close, I could see the smoke from what looked like a semi-tractor, several vehicles ahead of me. But when I got close to him, I could see the fire. And the entire cab was engulfed. I made sure I had enough room for myself to zip by. There was quite a bit of heat coming off of the cab, even just passing him with my window up. I panicked a little bit because I realized if something were to happen and I'm passing him on the outside lane, that could be trouble. But I had already made the decision to go, and I just went.
Emergency services put the blaze out, which stalled traffic on the bridge for a little bit. Windsor Fire says that the truck was carrying auto parts and that it's now been towed back to the U.S. It's still unclear what really caused the fire. Last month, hazardous materials were allowed to start crossing the bridge, but according to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, this incident did not involve hazardous materials. In a statement, the Ambassador Bridge said today that its emergency protocols were followed and the situation was brought under control, ensuring everyone's safety. Canada Border Services did not comment.
And Jen, what does this mean for border traffic tonight?
Yeah, so traffic at both the bridge and the tunnel is flowing. It is moving. Online, what it says is that there's about a 20-minute delay here at the bridge and then a 45-minute delay over at the tunnel. The tunnel CEO, who we spoke with earlier, said that both Canada and U.S. Border Services were working to ensure that people were moving and flowing. They added extra booths as well to deal with that backlog. There's also a few events happening in downtown Detroit as well, like the tree lighting and a holiday market, so that could be adding to just overall traffic increase. Kat.
Thanks, Jen. The CBC's Jennifer LaGrassa live from the border for us tonight. An illegal magic mushroom store in Windsor is closing for good. Dil Molnar tells us why.
The Fun Guys Magic Mushroom Store on Oleta Avenue has been raided by Windsor police about a half dozen times. And a spokesperson for the chain says across the province, their 30 stores have been raided 120 times. That spokesperson, who did not want to disclose his identity, says because of that, they can no longer go on. They can only take so many hits before you can't survive, so the fight they're putting up against us is very, very, very tough to deal with, so we're giving up the fight, he told us. For Ward 3 Councillor Ronaldo Agostino, this is an early Christmas present.
When you own businesses and you operate businesses in the area and all you deal with is an illegal mushroom store next door, it's a place your customers don't want to come, right? So I get it all the time from the business owners here. I've been against it from day one.
Abdiaziz Ali is also glad the store is closing.
Oh yeah, if it's bad, it's not good to have it. You know, it's not good customers. It's not good for people, for kids, because especially here we have family.
But Aaron Rivard says he needs the mushrooms to get rid of his cluster headaches.
The only thing that I've been able to help or find that helps is psychedelic mushrooms or LSD, lysergic acid dilithiamine, but I can't find a psychoactive version of it.
Psilocybin, which is in the mushrooms, is prohibited in Canada by the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act and has been illegal since 1975. Health Canada says the drug shows promising results in clinical trials, but still says evidence is limited as few trials have been completed. A researcher tells CBC News that psilocybin helps with end-of-life anxiety, depression, and PTSD. The owners of Fun Guys are trying to get the psychedelic mushrooms legalized and say taxpayer money is being wasted on police raids.
I'm not against the use of it for medical purposes, but if there's no storefronts allowed, you shouldn't have one. And I give full credit to our police force and all the police forces across the province that have brought us to this point to finally close these places down.
Fun Guys will continue to sell its mushrooms on its website. The 30 locations close on Monday. 50 people across the province will lose their jobs when the stores close. 3 people will lose their jobs here in Windsor. Dale Molnar, CBC News, Windsor.
Colette Kennedy is with us now for a quick look at weather. Colette, another gray, gloomy day out there today.
I know. I mean, you see this image behind me, right, Katerina? Just to kind of remind folks what a blue sky looks like around here. Yeah, we have, a chance to get some breaks in the cloud deck tomorrow and see a little bit of that blue sky kind of here and there. Not a lot of sunshine, but still normal height this time of year, 6, a normal low -1. Today we were up to 8 degrees actually with those windy conditions and our low this morning at 1. I'll have your full forecast coming up, Katerina.
Thanks for that, Colette. In other news, when Donald Trump takes the Oval Office in a couple of months, he says that he will call a national emergency to deport millions of undocumented immigrants from the U.S. And that's got Windsor's harbor master on edge. Dawson Chen has more.
For generations, there have been stories of people secretly crossing the Detroit River, whether by small craft or swimming. At some points along the river, less than a kilometer of water separates the U.S. from Canada. Now, the Windsor Port Authority fears we'll see more attempts at illegal and unsafe crossings. The reason? U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has promised mass deportations of undocumented immigrants.
We're seeing much more desperate people who are trying to get out of the United States and get to Canada and make claims. What I am seeing is an increase of swimmers. I am seeing things I did not see this time last year. Being out there swimming in the river and a ship going by, your chances of survival are very, very low. This time of year, the chances of hypothermia are very quick. I do not want to see anybody die in that river.
Barry admits there's no data yet to back up his concerns. But earlier this month, LaSalle police recovered a body floating in the river near Fighting Island. No further details have been released. LaSalle police say they haven't noticed an increase in people trying to swim across the river. RCMP enforced the border between designated ports of entry. The Windsor detachment of the RCMP also hasn't seen any recent unusual activity on the Detroit River.
Our posture at the Canada-U.S. border remains unchanged. We're prepared. If anything does happen when the Trump administration comes into term here in January, we're definitely well prepared.
Meanwhile, Barry continues to keep watch over the Detroit River. He emphasizes that the Windsor Port Authority has no mandate on immigration.
The most important thing for the Port Authority is the safety of the port. That's what I'm looking towards. Yes, there's going to be politics and discussion and posturing, but most important is the safe operation and efficient operation of the port.
Barry plans to take his concerns to a parliamentary subcommittee in the near future. Dawson Chen, CBC News, Windsor.
One of Windsor's worst roads could see the start of a massive reconstruction project this year that will require council to approve an expanded budget at Monday's council meeting. The CBC's Chris Ensing explains what this could mean for the corridor connecting downtown to the West End.
This is one of southwestern Ontario's worst roads, University Avenue West. I'm not here to tell you about how bad it is. We've done that story before.
Our axle on our vehicle would always get really loose because further down on University, there's like a lot of potholes. So we actually had to get repairs done. I think we got our vehicle serviced bi-monthly.
The worst, I'd say, being a resident of University Avenue. That's a tough clip.
This story is about council's plan to fix it and how long it's going to take. It includes bike lanes, basement flooding, prevention, and inflationary pressures. We're going to start with the bike lanes. The final redesign approved by council will leave most of the road looking like this, narrowing from 4 lanes down to 2 with protected bike lanes on each road. Ontario says the province gets final approval on bike lanes, replacing traffic lanes, but the city is confident this won't slow drivers, and the West End councillor isn't worried they'll be ripped up.
Any type of decision to do with removing a parking spot or adding a bike lane should be left to the local council.
So what about those basements? Well, underneath this road right here is a combined sewer line. That means that your sanitary system, your waste system, the stormwater, all of it's in the same pipe heading to our water treatment plant. That can lead to basement flooding. So this work is going to rip up the road, replace those sewers, and split that up, which could also then lead to more development in this area. When that happens, it's going to make empty lots like these become a prime piece of real estate. But all of this entire project, is going to take a lot of money. Last year, the city told CBC News it would cost over $50 million to make this happen in 10 years. Now they say it'll be quite a bit more and could stretch this project across 20 years. Fixing the first phase, an 800-meter stretch, that will cost more than $4 million than originally expected.
This is not just a road reconstruction, this is a residential, commercial, and economic development play. I think the way this road will be reconstructed will spur a lot of residential, commercial, and economic development along this stretch.
Now, all of this is one-time capital costs, so it's not expected to increase your property taxes. The work itself, it could bleed into 2026 just for that first section alone. And that means University Avenue's West status as one of the worst roads in southwestern Ontario might be safe for a couple of years to come. Chris Ensing, CBC News, Windsor.
Ontario has signed on to the National School Food Program, a deal worth $108 million over the next 3 years. It's getting a passing grade from teachers, but others say it doesn't address why kids go hungry. Heather Gillis reports.
This was too small. I have to equal this up.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau taking a bite out of hunger today for school kids in Ontario, folding Canada's largest province into the National School Food Program.
We've now reached a deal that's going to deliver healthy meals to 160,000 Ontario kids more over the coming year. This is a huge difference. We're talking about close to 10 million meals just for the rest of this school year.
First promised in 2021, the feds announced $1 billion for the program earlier this year. Today, giving Ontario $108 million over the next 3 years. That's on top of the $33 million Ontario already spends on school nutrition for meals and snacks for 600,000 children. Premier Doug Ford, absent here today, but endorses it.
I'm a fan of it.
Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow welcomes it too, but wants a bigger helping of cash from the province and feds to feed more kids.
But yes, because we don't have enough funds, often you have to cut the banana several ways.
2 million people in Canada visited food banks in March alone. A quarter of them children. The head of one of Ontario's largest food banks says the deal is a win for children and their families.
And this will make a meaningful difference in their lives. But it doesn't address the systemic causes of why they're food insecure. It doesn't address a lack of affordable housing. It doesn't address income securities that are wholly inadequate.
Teachers, though, giving the program a pass.
Providing students with healthy food at school improves physical and mental health, improves their ability to concentrate, reduces absenteeism.
And the kids.
It was important for us to be here today because many people don't have lunch and stuff during the day. So this is important for them because they have snack programs.
When implemented across the country, the feds say the school food program will feed 400,000 more children, with 7 more provinces and the territories yet to join. Heather Gillis, CBC News, Toronto.
We want to remind you about our CBC holiday campaign called Make the Season Kind. The goal is all about helping those who are experiencing food insecurity in our community, and we are asking for your help. Just head to our website. Look for this banner. It has details on the different ways that you can participate. And as part of the campaign, we are heading to Bright Lights on December 5th. We'll be at Jackson Park to live broadcast our show and to collect donations for our food drive. We hope to see you there. A live look outside. There's definitely been cozy sweater weather all week with temperatures dipping to 5 degrees overnight with the possibility of showers. We're going to have more from Colette later tonight. And then after the break, we'll have more on the promised tax break from the federal government. Stay with us. Welcome back. A number of premiers are reacting to the Trudeau government's decision to drop the tax on a wide range of products for 2 months. They say the plan means provinces will lose tax revenue too. Olivia Stefanovic reports.
I found out about this yesterday in a news briefing that came across our desk.
Blindsided, PEI's Progressive Conservative Premier wants federal compensation to make up for revenue the province loses because its sales tax is harmonized with the federal sales tax, called the HST.
We figure our numbers are somewhere around $14 million, I think, is the impact for us directly to the Treasury.
It looks like it'll cost New Brunswick revenues about $62 million, which is a lot.
The Liberal government in New Brunswick is bracing for an even bigger hit. One it hopes the federal Liberals will take on for the cash-strapped province.
That's not money that you can just find through regular efficiency mechanisms. So there's a conversation we'll be having with the federal government about how they're going to offset that so that New Brunswickers don't feel it.
Every provincial government across the country understands how important it is to be there for Canadians who are facing real pressures around the cost of living.
When asked if Ottawa will reimburse provincial governments, the Prime Minister wouldn't directly say.
I'm expecting provinces who see the challenges that their citizens are facing to realize that this is a way they can be there for people as they face the challenges of the next few months.
We did it 2 years ago. We just didn't go out there and do cartwheels.
The feds appear to be borrowing a page from the provincial playbook. Several, like Ontario, don't charge a provincial sales tax for many of the household items the federal tax break affects.
I got to give them kudos. Any government, I don't care what political stripe, wants to put more money back into people's pockets, good for them.
The federal government is also following in the lead of several provinces by handing out one-time relief checks. The Liberals say they will send $250 to every working Canadian in April. Olivia Stefanovich, CBC News, Ottawa.
Canadians obviously have lots of thoughts on what this tax break might mean for them. The CBC's Nisha Patel has the reactions.
Life is expensive. For many shoppers, any break from crushing costs sounds like a good idea.
It's kind of ridiculous how expensive it is to get just basic groceries.
Like with 2 small children, it'll help.
It'll help huge, saving money and being able to live.
Described by the Liberals as a sales tax holiday, the break from GST means cheaper toys too. This small business owner hopes it will bring more customers through her door.
I wish it started ASAP, and on children's toy stuff, I think it should be all year round.
The federal government estimates families that spend $2,000 on applicable items will save about $100, and they'll save $260 if they live in a province with HST. Not to mention the nearly 19 million Canadians who will also be eligible for that $250 rebate. But this economist says popular politics isn't always good policy.
So it doesn't accomplish a lot of social good. We spent $6 billion. That has to come from somewhere.
As for who that could be,
it's going to fall on relatively younger people.
Some are also criticizing the plan for being too broad.
If we really wanted to address affordability, we would target persons who are struggling with affordability, so persons who are spending a large amount of their incomes on basic necessities.
The Liberals say they've already done that with past targeted measures. But for Canadians who visit this food bank, a GST holiday may not make much of a difference.
It's almost insulting to us, to be totally honest.
There's little room in their budget for luxuries like new clothes and toys.
It's definitely not sustainable support for Canadians that are facing food insecurity, facing housing insecurity.
She's got a call to action when those checks come in.
To donate it to a local organization, it would make a really meaningful impact.
Asking those who are more fortunate to pay it forward. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
Coming up Monday on Windsor Morning, local reaction to Ontario signing on to the federal school nutrition program. What will it mean for kids here? Amy Dodge tells us Monday morning on CBC Radio 1. That airs every weekday morning on 97.5 FM. Stay with us. Colette Kennedy will join us after the break for your weather. Colette Kennedy is back now for weather. And Colette, you have given us a task for tomorrow. We are all on blue sky watch.
Looking for those breaks in the cloud deck, right? I guess it's all about perspective, you know, because normally November does have a lot of cloud cover. It's just that, you know, the early part of this month, not that long ago, we were so mild and we had a lot of sunny days in there as well. So it's just getting adjusted to what Novembers are usually like. And I'm going to show you what's going on well to the west of us. And then you might appreciate that we just have some cloud cover, showers, a few flurries yesterday. Not a big deal going on. A few showers rotating around again tonight. 5 degrees for that overnight low, so pretty mild with those overnights. 8 degrees tomorrow. The northerly winds not as strong as today, but we will still have somewhat of a breeze as we go into tomorrow. Current temperatures all around kind of holding on because of the clouds. Even though the sun sets, we tend to hold those temperatures and they don't drop too much through the overnight hours. There are those winds north just starting to make that little bit of a turn to the north-northwest, and some areas we're still having them coming in over 40 kilometers an hour. A little bit gusty through the early part of the overnight, and then they continue to kind of wind down and back off somewhat. That by tomorrow afternoon they'll be much improved, certainly from how they've been blowing through the area today. There, with that counterclockwise circulation around an area of low pressure, we get those rotation of showers. This is, I was saying, traveling out west, just showing what's going on. The second storm system moving in to the west coast, but what that is going to be bringing into Alberta, Saskatchewan. These are all snowfall warnings, looking at 15 to 35 plus centimeters of snow in some cases, probably 15 to 25 around Edmonton. And that's because it's going to fall over a few day period, probably tomorrow being some of the heaviest there. So we're mostly looking at that snow being stateside, south of the lower Great Lakes, and we're just primarily into the showery activity. So the transfer of energy off that east coast, as that continues to move eastward, we'll continue to get some improvement and have the clouds breaking down and see fewer and fewer showers. And that's why with that, I think tomorrow we could get some breaks at times and maybe into Sunday as well. Overnight readings tonight around 5 degrees for the low. On Saturday, 8 degrees. I didn't put sunny breaks in on Sunday, but that possibility is there. 7 degrees for the high, some showers Monday, and I do want to point out, Katarina, things are really going to cool down with some Arctic air coming in mid to late next week.
Oof, we're going to brace for that, so we got to enjoy tomorrow while we can.
Absolutely.
Thanks for that, Colette, and thanks to you all for watching. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday.